Epimanly, for the well-groomed man of the 90s. Epimanly gently removes unsightly nose hairs, and because Epimanly takes the hair from the root, you can go longer between trimmings. Epimanly's patented lift and yank action gently lifts and yanks the hair from the root. Epimanly's turbine rotary blades cast a gentle breeze over your face. Epimanly, for the well-groomed man of the 90s. Sold at fine stores everywhere.
Epimanly. Epimanly.
Epimanly, for the well-groomed man of the 90s.
Second attempt. One. Blue's a lucky one.
3, 4, 5, 6.
This is a healthy competition going on here.
7, 8, 9.
You got 9? 10! Yay! You got it! A new world record! Yay! What do you have to say for yourself?
11,
Oh my God.
12,
12! 13!
14,
14!
15,
15!
15.
15. Now, what's your name again?
Alex Krause,
Alex Krause from...
Sturgeon Bay.
Thank you, Alex Krause.
What does Chloe have on her head? What is that?
Chicken.
A chicken? What does a chicken say?
Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Truth Quest. Hold on a second. My lighting is uh-oh. Kathy Weiss. Okay, hold on a second here. Let me get the bat phone here. Hello?
Hello. I just want to let you know that the chat is, you can barely read it on the screen. It's in small letters.
Oh, okay. I'll fix that right away.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, apparently I didn't, let me see. Let me go back over here. Oh, okay, they're on the screen, but I see if I make them big and then tall, that's the way it usually is. That's why I usually have it, because that's the biggest that I can get it. And so there you go. All righty, Aphrodite. Well, thank you very much. Got to use the bat phone already. Welcome, welcome, welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Aaron Moriarty. I will be your host. We're going on a quest for truth together. Here we are again, friends. It's Friday night and everything's right for the weekend. Crazy clothes and anything goes on the weekend. Doon, doon, doon. John called Annie, Jim got soup. I made a date with little old you. Off we went to make a big dent on the weekend. Oh yeah, here we are on that big old weekend. And I want to thank you all for being here at the Truth Quest, because we do have the comfiest chat. It's even called Chatlandia, and we're going there now. Let's go run right off to Chatlandia, shall we? Okie dokie, Pinocchio. And first up, we got Weiss123. That's Catherine Weiss, and she says, hi, Aaron. Oh, and thank you for your recent donation, Kathy. And then Kathy says also, I'll be over on YouTube tonight. Awesome. And she also says, hi, Peggy. And then, let me see. I said, hi, Kathy, on Rumble. Okay. Awesome. And then Kathy's over there on YouTube already. She says, hi, Aaron. Then I said, hi, Kathy, over on YouTube. And And then look who else is here. Why, it's another one of our ultra mods. It's Peggy Dancer. And thank you again, Peggy Dancer, for your recent donation as well. So thank you very much to both of the ultra mods for that. She says, hello, Hot Games and Puzzles, Aaron. Hi, Catherine Weiss. I'll be on Rumble. Cool. That's too cool for school. And then Peggy also says, oh, she's over there on the portrait channel. I didn't even get there yet today. And she says, hi, Aaron. Hi, Catherine Weiss. I'll be on Rumble tonight. Too cool for school. Alrighty then. Oh, and Kathy puts this out. Please like and share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And it helps hit the old thumbs up because it helps the old algorithm, the algo beat. And plus, you know, we used to use our thumbs to hitchhike. Can't do that anymore. So you got to do something with them. Hit the old thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm and the algo beat. Thanks, Kathy, for putting that out there. And then Peggy Dancer's back over on Rumble. And she says, hi, Aaron. I voice 123 Kathy. I'll be here tonight. Very cool. And then I said, hi, Peggy. Okay. Very cool. And look who else is here. Well, it's Valeronian. Greetings, fellow Truth Questers, he says. Then I said, hi, Valeronian. And Valeronian says, hello, Catherine. Hello, Peggy. Hello, Aaron. Look at that. Gets it all done right away. And then Peggy Dancer says, hello, Valeronian. Good to see you, fellow Truth Questers. Yeah, we missed you, Valeronian. I think we missed you last. No, you were there last time. We missed you the time before. That's right. And then Kathy says, hiya, Valeronian. Oh, and then Kathy's over there on the portrait channel on YouTube. And she says, hi, Aaron. Hello. And then Ileana Henderson says, the chicken says, yeah, isn't that cute? That's my granddaughter, Chloe. Thank you, Ileana Henderson. That's an interesting name. And welcome to the program. Hope you enjoy yourself. And Jerry Lahane's here. Lahane. Different people. Like, share, and subscribe. Support. Well, thanks, Jerry. I appreciate that. And look, we've got another new friend, Sam Ingalls. Sam Ingalls. Hello, Sam Ingalls. Hi. Good to see you. And another new friend here. Who's this? That's Carol Christopher. I'm trying to look for WWE stream. Well, you know, we wrestle with lots of things here, but this isn't a WWE. Not yet. I mean, who knows? At any moment, a wrestler could be crashing through the wall and will be engaged in a big fight. Who knows? You never know. One of our friends here, if he stops by, he's actually a referee. So he would be able to help you out there, maybe, and show you where those are. And username King says, Kaya Ora from New Zealand, meaning hello. Well, Kaya Ora to you too, buddy. That's awesome. New Zealand. Wow. Now, is that anything like the old Zealand? Oh, is there an old Zealand, or is it just... I've never, I'm not sure. I'm only familiar with New Zealand. Maybe perhaps there's an old Zealand, or maybe it was Zealand and they got sick of it and they needed a new name and just said, okay, let's just put new in front of it. New Zealand. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. I'm not up on all that kind of stuff. But let me know. And Delona55 says, ahoy, ahoy. Well, hello, Delona. We've seen you before here, so welcome back. Awesome. And Jerry Lahane says, New Zealand, hi. Yes, we're broadcasting to the world and maybe to the universe. Who knows how far these airwaves go out? They might go up all over the place. We just don't know. We don't know. We just don't know. We try to figure it out, but Xena was shot in New Zealand. Yes, and so was Tarzan. Not Tarzan, Hercules. And Kevin Sorbo, who starred in that Hercules show, TV series that was shot in New Zealand, he went to the same high school I went to, Mound Westonka High. Yes, he was a Mohian, and we were the Mohawks, the Mound Mohawks. They changed that name, though, unfortunately, the Mound Mohawks. So he was a Mound Mohawk. He was in my brother's grade. My brother remembers him. I said, Mark, what was he like? Because he's famous now, you know. He goes, oh, he was just some skinny hippie. So I guess he got muscles afterward. So there you go, and there you have it. Well, we're all caught up in Chatlandia there. Isn't that wonderful? And I want to thank everyone who has bought a Epimanly in the recent days, because they've just had an explosion of customers coming in there wanting to look like a well-groomed man of the 90s. Yeah. Our longtime sponsor. Yep. So don't forget to shop them. And Jerry Lehane says Sorbo is on Twitter, X daily. Yes, he is. He's based and cool. He's a very cool guy. I'd like to get him on the show here. And, you know, I've tried, but, you know, I guess being an alum of Mound Westonka doesn't quite get it, doesn't hit it. I also went to an elementary school, Shirley Hills. We call it Squirrely Hills. But in 1955, when Shirley Hills was built in Mound, Minnesota, it was the largest elementary school in America. Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. But it was the largest at the time in 1955. Why, you ask? Why this little town of only 10,000 people, 9,000 people, or whatever it was back then? Why would they have the largest elementary school in the whole country? Because of a company called Mound Metal Works. It came out in 1947. Mound Metal Works. And they changed their name the year after, 1948, to Tonka Toys from Mound. So, and that was a big booming company, and they hired a lot of people in Mound, and they had to build them a new elementary school, largest one in the country. And then Cap 78 Pack says, welcome in, and don't forget to hit thumbs up and let your family and friends know about Truth Quest and Aaron. Well, thank you very much, Peggy. That's awesome. And then Jerry Lehane says conservative. Yes, Sorbo is conservative for sure. And Valeronian says, I think Zeeland is part of the Netherlands, or it was. Oh, really? Zeeland. Interesting. It's a neat sounding name, Zeeland, isn't it? New Zealand, Zeeland. Thanks, Valeronian. He knows so much, and I think he also has access to the intranet, right? Where you can find out anything you want to and some things you don't want to. And that's another conversation. Well, we're all caught up on Chatlandia, so let's go on over to where the land of Zuckers. Tonka were tough toys. Yes, they were. And high quality, American made. Not anymore. They're not in America anymore. It's just a nameplate. The Tonka factory is idle. I mean, there's other stuff in it. It was a quarter of a mile long in Mound, big place. My dad worked there as a tool maker. I saw him there and waved at him because our 4th grade class took a tour of Tonka Toys. And there I said, hi, Dad. Everyone said hi to their friends or relatives that worked there. And we got a mini metal red Tonka van at the end. We each got one. So that was really, really cool. And, you know, also growing up in a town where Tonka Toys was an American-made legend, everyone was proud to be from Mound because of Tonka Toys, and proud to be an American because it's American-made and it's quality. And I think that experience growing up there and being so proud of that American company has led me in my, from 16 on, I only have ever bought American cars. In other words, not a Toyota made in America, American car company cars. American Motors, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, and a Cadillac. I've had all of those cars. And AMC was really, I had a number of AMC cars. Great cars. I wish they were still around. Well, let's go on over to the land of Zuckers, because there's Zuckers born every minute over there on Facebook. Facebookorama, you might want to call it. And there is our thumbnail tonight. And you might wonder, what is this? Some kind of a cell under a microscope? No, that's the sun yesterday here, because it's so smoky outside that everyone outside is smoking because of this Ontario air that I'm hoping wasn't caused intentionally, but I think it might have been. You know, you always got to wonder these days. So there's the sun as it appeared over Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin yesterday. You could look at it with your naked eye and, you know, can't look at it too long. I burned a hole in my retina by staring at the sun when I was a kid. We had a contest who could stare at the sun the longest. I won and I lost. I lost because I have a big blind spot in my eye now. Petrochemy's red, yes. It's nasty. I didn't go outside at all today. Not even to take another picture of the sun. I was like, I'm staying inside, and I'm not going to open a window, and I'm just going to sit here, and hopefully it'll go away. I don't know what else you can do, because it's just kind of hanging around. It rained today, but it's still around. Episode 796. Can you even believe it? Can you even believe it? And state of Wisconsin air quality advisory map. Look at this. I'm over here in the red, right about here on the peninsula here. And it's unhealthy. Unhealthy. Yeah. It's not good. It's, I guess, it's very, very dangerous, actually. And Trump put this out. Great reviews on speech last night. Big audience. Passed the Save America Act. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump. Yeah, even though the major media companies didn't carry it, I hope they lose their license. And we'll be talking about that. And Dan Bongino is so darn happy that Trump made this speech, because now he can talk about something he's been itching to talk about.
It's really tragic that the left-wing and corrupted media is still willing to entertain the 2016 election was stolen by the Russians and Donald Trump. And yet the president last night gives a primetime address. He laid out to you last night evidence over the past year we've been working our asses off on. And corrupted media types are just there. Oh, Trump's lying. Listen to me. I'm really trying to control the expletives. That's bullshit. Call me whatever you want. Do not call me a freaking liar. I lived it. I saw it. You're calling him a liar. You're calling me a liar too, because I lived it. Folks, there was an organized internal government effort between intelligence community actors, law enforcement actors, DNI actors to just destroy President Trump completely by whatever means necessary. Yeah. During my tenure here as your deputy, I've relayed to you things that are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. What I've learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into these aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We can't run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I've learned. I know we're going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book in accordance with the law. We're going to get the answers we all deserve. I can't predict where it'll land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at the truth. Not my truth or your truth, but the truth. God bless America and all those who defend her. Respectfully, Dan. It's really tragic that the left-wing and corrupt...
I feel bad for Dan Bongino, what he went through when he was working for the government and he couldn't say anything. He was like all this bottled up it's like shaking a can of Coke, and then finally when he left, pop the top and vent. He's like the best venter. He vents, but it's good. It's an event. His venting is an event. So he's great. So he belongs on the air. So we're glad to have him back. We're glad that he was there to do that important work. And the burn bags. That's good job, Mr. Bongino. Oh, and look at this. Now, if you've ever seen any videos or studied ancient Egypt, you might have heard about the Serapeum, I think I call it. And so no one can figure out what these things were for. It's a giant, almost like a sarcophagus, but it's way too big for a sarcophagus. And they could never, and the work on it was so precise, they could never figure out what the heck these were for. They asked AI, and this is what AI came up with. And it's quite interesting, actually. And I think AI has struck on something here. Okay, so we're going to let the confuser read it for me. All right. Okie dokie Pinoki. Here we go. I got a robot here.
An experiment was conducted. An AI was asked to explain what the giant parallelepipes preserved in the so-called Serapeum in Egypt were. The AI's response was clear and precise, and absolutely revolutionary. Here is the complete response. It is highly unlikely that these are simply tombs because their construction appears enormously oversized for a funerary function. Granite blocks weighing 60-100 metric tons. Internal cavities carved with millimeter-level precision. Regular angles. And lids featuring two recurring, standardized notches. A burial requires space, protection, and a seal. It does not necessarily require such precise internal geometry or identical, repeated technical elements. The impression, therefore, is that of artifacts designed according to precise functional criteria, in which the internal form and the sealing system played a much more complex role than simply containing a body. One possible purely functional interpretation is that these enormous granite structures were not mere containers, but chambers designed to receive and transmit vibrations. Their mass of 60-100 metric tons would ensure an extremely rigid and stable structure, while the extraordinary precision of the interior would make sense if it were necessary to achieve repeatable physical behavior within the cavity. Under this hypothesis, the two recurring notches on the lids would not be random details, but standardized mechanical interface points, bars, beams, or other rigid elements capable of applying a symmetrical or alternating force to the lid could be inserted into them. The lid, therefore, would not have served merely to seal the chamber, but could have acted as an element for transmitting vibrations to the granite mass and the internal volume. The system would consist of three coupled components: lid, monolithic body, and internal cavity. A force applied at the two predetermined points could have generated vibrations in the stone and, consequently, pressure waves and resonances within the chamber. The millimeter-level precision of the angles and walls would serve precisely to make this behavior more regular and repeatable. In summary, the hypothesis is that these structures were a sort of passive vibrational chambers, in which an external mechanical force was transmitted through the lid and transformed into an organized vibrational field inside. The decisive question, of course, remains open. What was placed inside the cavity, and why did it need to be subjected to those vibrations? If a human body had been placed inside, an intense and prolonged vibration could have been perceived not only through hearing but directly by the chest, abdomen, bones, and vestibular system. Experiments at low frequencies have in fact measured physical vibrations on the surface of the chest and abdomen, as well as a particular vestibular sensitivity even around 100 Hz. In a closed, resonant chamber, the effect could therefore have resulted in an extremely powerful bodily experience. Pressure, internal tremors, alterations in balance and perception, and, at high intensities, possible direct physiological effects. The subject would not have simply heard the vibration, they could have felt it physically passing through their body. In theory, it could have had an effect perceived as therapeutic. Today, there are therapies based on body vibration and low-frequency vibroacoustic stimulation. Some clinical studies have observed pain reductions and functional improvements in specific conditions, although frequency, intensity, and duration are critical factors, and the evidence does not allow us to automatically apply these results to granite speakers. Therefore, it would not be absurd to imagine an empirical vibrational therapy chamber, a technology developed by observing that certain vibrations made people feel better, reduced pain, or induced a particular physical and mental state. But this obviously remains a hypothesis yet to be proven. The article continues in the book, Homo Reloaded, The Hidden History of the Last 75,000 Years.
Interesting, huh? Vibrational chamber. That's really interesting. See, this is where AI can really fill in some of the gaps and make an educated guess as to what things were for. And look, it takes some balls to expose the fact that our own CIA and others covered up Chinese election interference. High treason. Yes. High treason indeed. Oh, Tony put this out. Oh, Trump won the 2020 election. Conspiracy theorists were right again. No, we're always right. Oh, and look at what's lurking in that smoke. Went outside to check the air quality. If the air quality is okay, to open the windows. Not quite yet. No, don't want to let that smokezilla come in. It's just horrifying here. I mean, I was out the other day and my eyes were burning. My eyes were burning. It was terrible. Terrible. Just horrible. You know, why are we still living on the surface of this planet? I mean, if we were living underground in some kind of cavern that had a sprinkler system, this wouldn't happen, right? That's what I'm thinking. And Donald Trump, this is put out by the Republicans. Every American, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should not be a partisan issue that divides Americans. It shouldn't. Nothing should divide Americans. We're all Americans. You know, American. And this is part of the problem as well. You know, 1985, typical school classroom, communism killed 100 million people. Now the classroom in 2026, communism was misunderstood. Look at this freaked out teacher here and the kids, he's got like a Palestinian kerchief there, blue hair, and resist. You know, I was thinking, you read this word here, resist. You know what? This is what the left people are saying all the time. Resist, resist, resist. The word resist is very close to racist. So I wonder, you know, racist. That's what they're really saying. They're not resisting, they're racists. Serapia was a combination of Osiris and Zeus. Okay. Oh, I missed this one. King Ptolemy needed a state religion for Egypt that would combine the Greek pantheon and the Egyptian gods. Serapeus was a combination of the Osiris and Zeus. Okay. That's interesting. Make sure that's off of there. Okay, Trump wants broadcast license networks that didn't air his speech revoked. Yes, and 99.9% of all people in America think the exact same way. Exact same way. And here's John Solomon on the War Room. Let's check it out.
MSNBC, who was briefed in advance, I might add, in full assault on the president's speech last night and the details to back it up. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, it was a network that told us he was Russia. Donald Trump was Vladimir Putin's asset. That didn't turn out to be true. They told us that the Hunter Biden laptop was a Russian disinformation campaign. It wasn't. They said that Joe Biden had his marbles. He lost them. I don't know why anyone would watch MS now, but unless you're looking for a comedy hour because Jimmy Kimmel sucks. So I think that's really the truth of it. When you get down to what the president revealed last night. I just want to remind people, because they're getting a version of Pravda on our over-the-air television networks today. When Iran hacked just 100,000 voter files in 2020, we called that election interference, we called that election influence, and we indicted the Iranians for doing it. Now, they hacked the system where the voter files were publicly available, but when you hack the system, you get more data. When Great Britain disclosed that there were 40 million voter files hacked by China in 2024, the President of the United States here and his administration, Joe Biden, by the way, it was Joe Biden's Justice Department that charged the Iranian hackers in 21. In 24, the Biden administration skewered China and indicted Chinese hackers for attacking Great Britain's system. If 100,000 voter registration files stolen by Iran, and if 40 million voter registration stolen by China in 2024 for Great Britain is a national crisis for the Biden Democratic Party, why isn't 220 million American files being stolen and compromised by China a scandal in America? The only reason is that NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, and all those others who didn't cover this speech or didn't honestly cover this speech, they are trying to hide the fact that this is what they don't want to report. They don't want this out there. So they're misleading you. They're running a propaganda operation. If anyone in America thinks that the theft of 220 million American voter files isn't a problem, then you should go watch MS Now. You'll find your reinforcement there.
Find your
MSNBC,
reinforcement there, yeah. Oh, and here's Vesta. This is the second largest asteroid in the asteroid belt, right? 15 years ago, July 16th, 2011. Can you believe 2011's already 15 years ago? My goodness. NASA's Dawn spacecraft entered orbit around Vesta, the second largest body in the main asteroid belt. For more than a year, Dawn studied this unusual asteroid's features, geology, composition, and gravity before heading to its second destination, dwarf planet Ceres. Remember that? Look at that. There you go. It's almost like, it almost looks like a cosmic dinosaurs dropping or something, doesn't it? But actually it's a part of an exploded planet. That's the asteroid belt is. Trump was beating China in his first term, so China used a virus to lock down our country and weaken the integrity of our elections while using stolen election data to get rid of Trump and install a puppet president. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Thanks, Chad, for putting that out there. And here's Catherine Herridge, another awesome journalist. For those of you confused or need a summation of Trump's speech last night from Catherine Herridge, there it is. Let's see. A real journalist, CCP used all elements of government, power, trade, diplomacy, social media, open source reporting to undermine Trump's re-election. President Trump called it the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's acquisition of 200 million U.S. voter files, actually 250 million, I think. Note, CCP could use this data for multiple purposes: voter fraud, identity theft, and to target Americans for recruitment. President Trump said the Chinese influence operations was intentionally suppressed by elements of the U.S. intelligence community and withheld from him. In April, I reported that the whistleblower complaint that is central to the China election influence and meddling allegations. For speaking about the bias and the suppression of intelligence, the whistleblower was severely retaliated against. There is an opportunity now to make it right for them and their family. In a nutshell, Trump won the 2020 election. Lock them up. There you go. Lock them up. Thanks, Catherine. You're a very good journalist. And the White House put this out. For many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable. They're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Yes, they did for decades. All stood up to Democrats. All were shot. Yes. The violent left. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. He was never got 81 million votes. He was never the most popular president in history. He didn't get more votes than Obama. The election was rigged with fraudulent machines, millions of illegal mail-in ballots, illegals voting, ghost voters, and stolen Social Security numbers. Oh yeah, they also stole seats in Congress. They did. And look at that. They're burning up right now. They're losing all the little bit of credibility they had. Oh, here's Chuck Schumer. In 1996, voter ID is common sense. 2026, voter ID is Jim Crow 2.0. Oh, he was promoting Jim Crow 2.0 back then, according to his now self. So ridiculous. Terrible. Just found out Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory. Nothing found. This is McCarthyism. Remember that? This is from George Nassif. The day Admiral Rogers hand-carried my MI5 document to Trump about spying Obama ordered on his campaign. So George Nassif was behind that. That's what he says. Interesting. And so here we go. I ever wonder where they got the idea for the 1966 Batman? Was probably this from the 40s, right? 1943. Check it out. A little bat action.
I am Dr. Decker, humble servant of His Majesty Hirohito. By divine destiny, my country shall destroy the democratic forces of evil in the United States to make way for the new order. And the page, step up to him.
New order.
Slap his face. Step back. Are you devil?
Oh no, he's falling. Oh my goodness. Did you see him falling? Oh my goodness. Isn't that interesting? Such excitement for back then. So exciting. And here are two of the stray cats, Slim Jim Phantom and Lee Rocker. 37 years ago, Slim Jim looks into his rockabilly crystal ball. Let's check it out.
I think this is a real long-term thing. I think we realize that we don't really like working with anyone else, and we don't really like anyone else. So we just have a certain chemistry, a certain magic when the three of us play together. And I don't think anyone wants to lose that again, because we really love the band and love being together and working together and making records. So I see it a lot more long-term this time. I think this is a real long-term thing. I think we realize that we don't really like working.
He knew it was going to be a long-term thing right away. Look at that. How do you like them apples? Trump says China stole 220 million U.S. voter files in the 2020 election. Yes. Arrested, second-degree child molestation. All of these crooks getting arrested. That's good. From the White House. The worst of the worst. And there's that picture I took of the sun yesterday. And what can they do to get rid of that haze over the country? And best president in my lifetime, Marty put that out. Thanks, Marty. And there's Kevin Sorbo. Speaking of Kevin Sorbo, a famous American actor, Kevin Sorbo, known for his role as Hercules Seymour. I wasn't kicked out of Hollywood. I left on my own because they're all pedophile perverts. That's right. Pedophile perverts. And childhood is sacred. Anyone who destroys a childhood needs to go to prison for life or whatever more than that they can do. And we all know about that. We all know about that. American elections are for American citizens. Yes. For American citizens. Yeah, most Democrats couldn't make it to our hearing on government fraud. The empty chairs made their priorities pretty clear. Hard to claim you're fighting waste when you don't even show up. Yeah. Yeah. ICE has killed 5 Americans. Illegal aliens have killed 1,713 Americans. Guess which one the Democrats have a problem with? Yeah, the smaller number. Yep. And here is in memory of the victims. Look at that. All of those names there. Mike LeBlanc put that out. These are the people the Democrats and their complicit media don't care about. Victims of the Democrats' open border policies. So deeply sad. So saddening. And look at this. I got to see Evan and Alicia today. This was 4 years ago. 4-year memory. Look at that. And Evan's 4 now. Can you believe it? I can't believe how fast he's grown. Look at him. And watch this. This was the first time he giggled. I got him to giggle, and they couldn't get him to giggle, and I got him to giggle. I think this is the video, so let's take a look at this. Look at that. That was his first giggle. Can you believe it? They were trying everything. It couldn't get him to giggle. And there it goes. Hey, he's got such a great laugh, too. Even now, he has got a great laugh. Joshua Lisick put this out. Did Justice Barrett just tell us she voted incorrectly on birthright citizenship because she's afraid of the left who support it? She did, didn't she? Fox News Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett details the chilling threats her family faced by the left, revealing the terrifying moment her 12-year-old son discovered a bulletproof vest in her bedroom. Yeah, that's the left. They are violent, and they don't care who they vile against. And here is this cloud, or at least from Margie Long put this out. Let's watch this cloud of smoke from Ontario. And I'm right here. So just interesting, huh? Look at that. Right in the middle of it. It's a big, big thing. And there's our last show. So we're all done with that. And there you go. All righty, Aphrodite. We're back here again. Oh, Valeronian said, Isaac Asimov, when he was very young, wrote Marooned Off Vesta, a science fiction story. And he says, I wish he was still alive to see the NASA images of the real Vesta, right? That would have been nice. He also portrayed Dylan Hunt in the science fiction drama Andromeda. Okay, interesting. Okie dokie, Pinocchio. Well, alrighty then. Now we got to go over to X. X marks the spot. Don't you know? X. Oops. Gotta get rid of that. All right, let's cruise on over to X. And China's URKL robot fight is absolute cinema. The robot get his head kicked out. Look at this. This is great. His head's off. Oh, a piece fell off. Oh. His head came off. Isn't that interesting? You know, what's nice about robots fighting is you don't feel sorry for them when they get hit. Like if in a normal fight with humans, someone gets a bloody eye, it's like, feel sorry for him. You don't feel sorry for a robot getting his head knocked. He knocked my block off, like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. You know, that toy from the 60s, 70s. It really predicted the future, didn't it? It certainly did, and a great toy it was. There's our show, 796.
Well, an entity came from this portal, and like it sat at the table.
That was Dr. Astrid coming out a few years ago, and what she said was going on at CERN. Now, she has an academic and scientific background. She worked at the University of Geneva in Switzerland. She has also worked with the World Health Organization and the United Nations, so she holds some weight. Now, her claims were that they had opened a portal or something like a Stargate under CERN. She claimed that she was told by scientists there that an entity came out, and the entity even left a scarf behind as physical proof. Now, regardless if we believe her or not, they are messing with something they shouldn't be messing with. Now, she said that they were trying to open something much bigger. Well, this came to mind because of this, and I showed you that clip because of this. So I was sitting here, and I heard the word CERN in my head. It just popped into my head. I heard that word, and I was thinking, well, I haven't looked into CERN in a long time. So I went, and I looked into it, and there was a news article from today. It said they had just announced that they are happy about funding for a new particle accelerator or a new particle collider. Now, something much bigger and better, they say, kind of what she was talking about. They say, build by far the world's biggest particle accelerator, over 3 times larger than the LHC CERN. Wow, that's big and more powerful. Now, the planned future circular collider, called the FCC, will be voted on in 2028. It says they will be checking funding in 2028 and move forward. It also says that as of today, private donors have already pledged $1 billion towards the construction of the FCC. So the LHC CERN is expected to have fully run its course by 2040, and they want another one ready, a much more powerful one ready. They would start construction in the 2030s on the FCC. They do say that the project would start operation in the 2040s. However, we know that when they always want to speed things along, or, you know, they need to speed things along, it might not even take that long. So who knows? And especially if, let's say, something happens to CERN sooner than that. But the late 2030s into 2040s is also when Space Weather News says that the pole shift will happen. We've all been watching the data, or however you want to say it, data on that, and that would correlate with around the same time. Now, I think it could all happen much sooner, but who's to say? Anyways, so all of these things are in Revelation, and you also have the 2030 agenda, the New World Order, you know, the beast system, and we know CERN has its hand in Bible prophecy. It could even play a part in, you know, like Revelation 9, the key to the bottomless pit, just a thought there. But anyways, I really do think we should pay attention to their moves on this new FCC and if they speed their plans along. Because literally everyone and everything right now has 2030 or the 2030s and 2040s in their major plans. Just something to watch.
Interesting. Opening up portals.
We watched the second stage burnout.
Remember this?
Third stage burnout. And into the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. Now, remember, all this stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space. Now, I saw that. I don't give a goddamn what anybody else says about it. I saw that on film. Phil Klass can kiss my ass. He wasn't there. I was. We watched the second stage burn out. We watched the third stage burn out.
Remember that?
And into the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. Now, remember, all this stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space. Now, I saw that. I don't give a goddamn what anybody else says about it. I saw that on film. Phil Klass can kiss my ass. He wasn't there. I was.
Phil Klass. Now, Valoronian talks about Phil Klass being the debunker. Or was that Andy? Now, I'm not sure if this is real or not, but it's kind of cool. Is this AI, do you think? I think it's AI. What do you guys think? Exacto right there. No note on it. It's kind of cool. Watermelon sculpture. Anyway, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. And here is the Trump to tariff Canada for polluting American air with mismanaged wildfire smoke. Yes. Oh, the tariff king. Yes. Trump, the tariff king. Tariffs can fix anything. Isn't that awesome? I hope that he's successful. That's
I
president.
Just became an American citizen. I can call myself an American now. This is a huge achievement of my life. I fought like crazy tooth and nails, and I was through a long and tedious process, I might add, to get here. But it's finally time to call myself an American. I just took an oath of allegiance, and this is the best day of my life so far. I love it. I just became an American citizen.
She just became an American citizen. It's the best day of her life. She did it the right way. You know, coming in the wrong way, you never really feel so good about being here, would you? Because you're always thinking, oh, I didn't come in the right way. I just think that anyone with a conscience wouldn't do that. That's my opinion. And then what's this? CIA note. Oh my God, Venezuela has been interfering with the U.S. election infrastructure dating back to 2004. Wow. Yeah. Isn't that neat? There's the document right there. So there that is. China compromised the voter rolls of 18 states. Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, District of Columbia, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, Maryland, Michigan, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, and Rhode Island. And they count DC in there too, District of Columbia. Our nation's capital. They were meddling. Wow. You know, I'm not gonna eat a fortune cookie because I'm so upset with China. So upset. You know? Enemy of the people, yes. Cartel. Mike Lee says cartel. Yes. Oh, I'll follow him. Based Mike Lee. And then Katie Diviscourt, declassified FBI document on Chinese election interference. There's more information. There's so many millions, 10 million documents or something. Not all of them are released yet. We are holding Canada responsible for the fact that they are not properly maintaining their forests. and brush therein. And the United States is being unnecessarily invaded by filthy, polluted, and unhealthy air, the quality of which is dangerous and totally unacceptable. I will call the Prime Minister during the day to find out what they are going to do about it. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? The cost is incalculable. Canada has refused to engage in basic forest management and debris removal, knowing that such refusal will lead to exactly this result. This is willful negligence and becoming a yearly occurrence, costing the United States billions of dollars, which cost of pollution must be necessary be added to the tariffs. Canada is currently paying. Okay, I'm going to add it on. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okie dokie, Pinocchio. I'm
Something
so
happened
proud
in
of
downtown
you.
Detroit yesterday that I can't stop thinking about, and that frankly is making me sick to my stomach and also makes me want to smash up the phone that I'm holding right now and get a landline and tell all my friends, you're just gonna have to call me like we're in the 1950s, because what do you mean? I will be walking around my house while I'm telling the story. If you get motion sickness, close your eyes because I'm not stopping. Anyway, we were in downtown Detroit yesterday, going around to different boutiques and stuff. And there, if you didn't know, there are several like women-owned boutiques in the Fisher Building that are really cool. So we go there, and there is a parking garage right next to the Fisher Building that you can park in. Something you need to know about my friend Gina is that she will not pay for parking because it's a hassle. I don't really know the why, but she always will say, well, they can give me a parking ticket and I'll pay that. And that's fine. That's her prerogative. I don't care because I'm not driving and it's not my problem. It's not my business. So when you go on to the parking garage at the Fisher Building, there's a QR code on the wall. Mind you, I've been to the Fisher Building to these boutiques several times. The last time I went was in March of 2025. This is relevant. Stay with me. So we go into the building. She doesn't do the QR code, whatever. I honestly didn't even think about it at that time, but we're in there for 36 minutes. And you might be like, wow, that's a really specific number, Katie. How do you know that? I know that because as we were driving, literally as soon as we drove out of, literally as the car was passing out of the garage, I get a text. I get a text on my phone that says, thank you for parking with us. We've charged your card. What card? What card? There's a link to a receipt. I click it. It has identified that my phone was in the parking garage. It has then linked me to a vehicle that I have nothing to do with, have never been there in, ever in my life. Has the make, model, and license plate number of her car that I have nothing to do with. It's not my car. I was not driving it. And it said, well, she didn't pay. You're going to pay. And just charge my card. A card, by the way, that they never disclosed to me that they were keeping on file the last time I was paying. Excuse me? And I don't care. I don't care that I pay for parking. I will pay for parking. I paid for parking, obviously, when I go, and I would pay for parking, and it's not a big deal. It's not like I care that they charge me for parking. What I care about is how the hell do you have the ability to track that my phone entered this parking garage, link it to a car that has nothing to do with me, that I've never driven there, that I am not the owner of, I've never driven, period. And then you've determined that because the person that did drive the car that I was in didn't pay, I have to pay. Excuse me? When did I give you a blanket authorization to just charge my card because you've identified my phone is in the building, even though I'm not the driver of any car parked in that garage? When did I give you that permission?
This one is actually really wild, and it's 100% true. So the parking garage is the Fisher Building garage in Detroit. So they use a system called the Metropolis Parking Platform, and what it does uses license plate recognition cameras combined with phone-linked accounts and payment storage details. So what happens is you enter the garage, the cameras pick you up, they identify your license plate and your vehicle, and then you automatically start getting billed for the amount of time that you're in that parking garage. So your phone, how this works is that you set up an account when you go into this garage to pay your bill. So when you register on the app, you put in your license plate number, you put in your cell phone number, you put in your credit card details. All that information is then saved and stored on their cloud. So now when you enter this parking garage, it knows your car details, it knows your phone information, and they have sensors that can pick up the signal on your phone and identify you. So even if you're not in your actual car, the garage knows that you're inside the building. So I guess it just automatically associated this person's car with this person's phone, even though it likely wasn't linked to the app. So obviously this is definitely a privacy concern, because what if you're just in a friend's car and then you're the only one that has the payment and all of a sudden you get billed, you never know that you got billed, and then it goes to collections, you get a warrant. I mean, this could just spiral very quickly, all because you entered a parking garage with your friend. The crazy thing is that there's a lot of people that are experiencing the same issue with this same parking system. People are being charged when they don't think that they should be charged. People are being charged just because license plates are similar. So you go into one of these parking garages that uses...
Yeah, people are going to stop carrying phones around. They're going to get
Jocelyn Benson might be done with the 2020
get,
election.
landlines.
But 2020 is not done with her. Remember when Democrats rubbed our noses in it after Biden won? They took a Time magazine.
Hold on a second here. Welcome to at the BK. AI is so awesome, right? And DP 3718 says, what happened to Tonka? Well, Tonka Toys was an American company, started, like I said, in Mountain, Minnesota in 1947-48. And I think it was in the 80s that someone at Tonka advocated to move their production facilities down to Juarez, Mexico, or New Mexico, I think. And so they did. But what happened was, because they would pay the people so much less and they'd make more money, apparently that was the thing that they were told. But what happened was, I mean, they went down there, got everything set up, and they hired people for a lot less than they were paying in Mound. The people who had pride, these people in Mexico had no pride for the company because it didn't mean anything to them. They would, the machine, they'd turn on the machine and walk away. No, you have to watch the machine. If something goes wrong, you have to turn it off. Otherwise, it'll break and it costs a lot of money to replace or to fix. So they ended up having to train these people and give them more money. By the time they were done, they were paying those people in Mexico the same amount they were paying people in Mound, but they were getting crap work. All the quality went downhill because they didn't care. That's the thing. Made in America, Americans care, and they didn't. And then shortly after that, they were purchased by Hasbro. Hasbro owns the nameplate. I think they still do. I think they loan it out to other companies, but they're not made in America anymore. And it's very sad, very sad, very sad. And Kathy says hi at the BK. And Cap78 Pack says hi, DP. And Cap78 Pack says, or Peggy Dancer says, hi at the BK. And I gotta say hi at the BK too. Let's see. I think we're gonna skip that one anyway. Oh, did you hear about this? Oops. Breaking, Ron DeSantis has just signed a law banning Sharia law from being enforced anywhere in the state of Florida. Every state needs to do that.
Democrats just completely did not even show up. It was only Republicans that talk about widespread fraud. And so think about that. You have senators of the United States who are not even showing up to hearings that we are paying them to go to. We pay for all the salaries of these individuals here, and not a single Democrat showed up. I don't even want to make this Republican or Democrat issue. However, that's just a fact. Not a single Democrat showed up on a hearing about fraud, and you are paying for their jobs. You're paying their salaries, you as the United States taxpayer. That's almost like fraud itself to not show up to your own job. Imagine if you didn't show up to your own job. What would happen? You wouldn't get paid. These people don't even show up, yet they still get paid. That's absolutely crazy. On top of the Democrats not showing up, they actually brought someone to testify against me, and that person they brought is blind. So we're talking about fraud, yet they bring someone who actually cannot even see the fraud. Nothing against blind people, but that's just a fact that the person they brought to the hearing to testify against me, his vision is impaired. He actually cannot see the fraud. And now let's get into me testifying and then also answering the questions back from the senators.
Isn't that crazy? Nick Shirley's doing a great job.
In August 2001, actor James Woods was on a flight from Boston to Los Angeles when he observed some Middle Eastern passengers acting strangely. He told authorities what he saw, and the FBI has apparently corroborated that it may have been a dry run for the 9/11 hijackers.
I got a phone call that actually wakes me up, and they said, we want to talk to you about the flight that you took in August. I said, oh, did the manifest match of any of the flights yesterday and my flight? He said, well, we can't tell you that. I said, well, look, I'll get ready and I'll come down to the federal building. He said, we're outside your house. We'll just wait for you.
7:15. So
I ordered 7 in the morning. I said, and this is the only funny part of any of this. I said, how did you know where I live? And there was a pause. He said, we're the FBI. We're the FBI. Thank you. So they came in and I said, look, I'm dying to know, were these the guys? And he said, well, we've had 36,000 tips in one day. And there's 2 of us and we're going to be at your house all this morning. So you can do the math, but we can't tell you, So since then I have identified for sure 2 of them as 2 of the terrorists who actually were not on flight 11, but one was on flight 175 and one was on flight 77. And I've been told unofficially, not by the FBI, but by someone else in actually a higher level of government, believe it or not, just through a coincidence, through a mutual friend, that all 4 of them were terrorists involved.
That is unbelievable. So it was basically a rehearsal what these guys were doing.
Right, but what's significant about this is that it was a rehearsal with 4 men, and I can't say it as a fact that they were the 4, but I've been led to believe, without going into details of how, that they were on different flights. So the notion that they were separate cells, and this is tricky territory, but I think in the Moussaoui trial, there's going to be some contention that, he was a soldier and didn't know what was going to happen until he stepped on the plane and then decided in a fit of good conscience not to be a terrorist anymore. In fact, the fact that these 2 people were identified by myself and other people and were on the Boston-LA flight and ended up dying on 2 other flights of the 4 flights on September 11th show that they
what
were.
An amazing story.
There was.
And this is the first time I've ever heard this. This is the first time you're telling the story.
Interesting, huh? James Woods alerted them, saw something suspicious.
So, Catherine, based on your reporting and the lead up to this, which was spot on and absolutely correct, you speak with whistleblowers, you speak with people inside the intelligence community all the time. What do you hear from them about how this needs to be fixed in order to solve these vulnerabilities that we're seeing?
I think one of the first steps has to be to address the retaliation that these whistleblowers have faced. And I know that it was pervasive and severe in one particular case, and that this individual really was kind of assassinated professionally because they stood up for the facts of what happened in the 2020 election, and that still has not been cleared up. I think there is a real frustration among the public that we keep hearing about these fouls, so to speak, and then nobody seems to be held accountable. Not to kind of change gears, but the other thing that really caught my attention was the president's discussion of these burn bags.
Yes.
This immediately took me to the burn bags that were discovered on the 9th floor of the FBI, where they found the records about Crossfire Hurricane. That was the original 2016 Russia collusion investigation. They also found what was a CIA note. There's only a paper copy. It was from the CIA director to the FBI, and it had that intelligence about Hillary Clinton planning to paint Trump as a puppet of Russia. Okay, what he said is that those burn bags were supposed to be destroyed.
Yes. So for people who aren't familiar, what is a burn bag? Why would you need a burn bag?
I have lots at home.
I have lots just hanging around just in case I ever need to use them.
So a burn bag is used in classified facilities or sensitive security facilities, and they take documents, and rather than shred them, they put them in the bags to be burned so that they are ultimately destroyed. These bags were discovered at FBI headquarters. One was in a closet next to the director's office with some of the most important documents about the Russia collusion investigations.
Yeah.
And I was struck when the president said, we know now that they were supposed to be destroyed and there was some kind of mistake. And he said that the ODNI, the top intelligence official, FBI, and CIA, they will investigate that.
So much more to come, it seems, including the Department of Homeland Security tomorrow giving an extra briefing.
Interesting. Marco Rubio gets a standing ovation over there in Germany. How do you like that? And these European countries are.
I got to thinking and wondered why I was driving complete ballots from New York to Pennsylvania.
Attorney Sidney Powell revealed she has evidence showing that fake ballots printed in China were transported across the U.S.-Mexico border. This statement is consistent with a previous claim by a Chinese insider who exposed that the printing plant involved was located in China's Guangdong province.
We heard a video of somebody ordering ballots from China.
那个量不是问题，主要是那个，只要你那个钱到位，那量不是问题，都可以的。
因为它那个油墨油那个印刷的是不一样的。
印刷不一样是吧？
对啊，因为你仔细看一下，它那个选票的那个印刷是不一样的。
那个没关系，我会看着那个图片来做这边。
然后到时候你们这边发物流的话怎么发？因为我这边订的话就是大量的订这样子。
大量订那个发物流的话，一般好像也要好几天哦，物流比较慢。
发国际可以吗？
我看一下，发国际好像也是走物流啊。
可以走是吧？你这边费用的话多少钱打印一张？我这边现在叫人给你转。
那个跟上次一样啊。
OK， 好，我知道了。你再把二维码发我一遍，谢谢。
然后那个还欠一点那个。
知道。OK， 好。
We have evidence of a significant plane load of ballots coming in, and we have a witness who said they continue to come in because they intend to run counterfeit ballots in any runoffs or they need them in recounts too. So it hasn't stopped.
Dr. Tian Yuan, a current affairs commentator in the United States, said that the CCP had experienced printing counterfeit U.S. currencies indicating that it also has the capability to forge U.S. election ballots.
China and North Korea both printed counterfeit U.S. currency on a large scale in the past. Considering that the CCP dared to forge U.S. currency and ship it to the United States in large batches to interfere with U.S. financial security and buy products that are important for China and North Korea, it certainly dares to counterfeit election ballots. I have no doubt about that.
Sidney Powell recently filed an election fraud complaint in Georgia and presented a major piece of evidence showing that fake ballots have solid gray watermark instead of a transparent one, and that they are 100% for Biden. This indicates the application of forensic techniques can help identify fake ballots printed in China.
This evidence demonstrates, and it's through eyewitness testimony that's been corroborated by others through their eyewitness statements, that 130,000 to 280,000 completed ballots for the 2020 general election were shipped from Bethpage, New York to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where those ballots and the trailer in which they were shipped disappeared.
On November 2nd, 2020, I noticed that there was only one ballot in the bin for delivery to USPS. And on November 3rd, Election Day, there were no ballots in the bin for delivery. One can imagine my surprise then when the next day, November 4th, I was asked by a senior USPS employee named Monte if I had forgotten any ballots the night before. Monte explained that an order came down from the Wisconsin-Illinois chapter of USPS that 100,000 ballots were missing. Monte then told me that his post office had dispatched employees to look for the missing ballots around 4 a.m. and that only 7 or 8 were found at UMS. Based on my previous experience and habit of double checking for ballots, I believe that to be a lie. The following day, November 5th, 2020, I had a conversation with a different USPS employee named Rachel, in which she admitted that USPS employees were ordered to backdate ballots that were received too late to be lawfully counted. I asked Rachel if I would get in trouble with my boss for those ballots the other night, referring to the allegedly missing ballots I discussed with USPS employee Monte on November 4th, 2020.
Anyway, I think you get the point. There's so much corruption.
Talking about
so much
so
corruption.
If we're all in agreement that it is incorrect to say the 2020 election was stolen, what about the 2016 election?
Look, I'm not going to
go back into history.
It was a stolen election.
It was stolen.
Stolen. He's an illegitimate president. He's an illegitimate president.
You know, pretending to be president.
Why do you think the president is going to such great lengths to essentially prove that he beat you? Because he didn't.
1/3 of Clinton supporters say Trump election is not legitimate.
I think he's an illegitimate president that didn't really win.
You are absolutely right. You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
The 2016 election was stolen. Got a nicer way to say that?
Say Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia hacked our election. A little louder, please.
Russia hacked our election. That was a 9/11 scale event.
This was a kind of cyber 9/11. Like institution.
9/11.
Yes.
Russia hacked our election.
Russia, of course, hacked our election here.
Half of Clinton's voters believe the conspiracy theory that Russia hacked Election Day votes.
We know that they were into.
I'm not going to put you through more of this Hillary crap. I'm so glad I don't have television because I didn't hear most of this when it was out because I don't have TV. I've seen clips of a few things, but I'm so glad I don't have TV anymore because this stuff just turns my stomach. And the fact that they all claimed very loudly that they thought that the 2016 election was stolen because they did, like Q said, they never thought she would lose. She did, and they claimed it was stolen. And then the very next election, where China helped the Democrats steal the election, they said it was the most secure election of all time. There's no such thing as a stolen election. Forgetting completely about what they said about 2016. It's hypocrisy. The Democrats have two things that they're very good at: hypocrisy and cheating. That's it. That's the only things that they're good at. We need arrests. Fulton County ordered 1 million extra absentee ballots. Yes,
it's the only one helping these people in Iran. So Elizabeth Banks, this woman Bita, is about to be gang raped and publicly executed. And so are 3 more women. And they have been doing this to many young people every single day, 1 or 2 public executions. So you're sitting there on your cushy couch talking about Kamala Harris. You claim to be a feminist. You claim to be a humanitarian. Where are you when the women need you? You're a fake. You're a hypocrite. You're of no help to anyone. So if you claim to be a feminist, you claim to be a humanitarian, you claim to be a good person, America, Iran isn't just a military war or peace in the Middle East or oil stabilization. This is a humanitarian issue. They're killing young people every single day. And the only one that has helped is President Trump. He's the only one helping these people in Iran. So
Trump is the only one helping them.
That is what I support because I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. And you know what a liberal do? We destroy the economy. We make everybody impoverished. And then we make sure all the homeless people doing drugs in front of the children and make sure all the school teaching the children how to be a homosexual and make sure they all teach about the transgender. So that is what important to me. Make sure we have enough subway car for all the poor people to travel around the city, going from homosexual to Palestinian protests and so on and so forth. That is what I support because I'm a liberal. I'm a liberal. And you know what a liberal do? We destroy the...
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. In a rare move.
Not a single Democrat showed up.
Truth Next hits streamers today and is available on Apple TV, YouTube TV, and Amazon Prime. Director and producer Ron James joins us now. Congrats on the new documentary. So you interviewed a variety of newsmakers, from whistleblowers like Lou Elizondo to lawmakers who've long pushed for disclosure. You said that the deeper you went into that world, the more you came to believe that the political process was in many ways a dead end. What do you mean?
Well, I think that this thing's been sequestered by government and private industry for years, and that we are not going to get the entire truth and the knowledge of this from a political process of disclosure.
Meaning not from Congress, not from these hearings, not from the government releasing files?
From all of it, not from anything actually coming officially from government through this process or through announcements that come from the White House or anything else. They're never going to tell us the entire truth of everything that they know about this phenomenon.
Why not?
Well, there's just too much accountability, and there's too many things that blend into the power structure on the planet, religious philosophies and teachings, societal norms, that it's just too disruptive. And there's too many things that they've done over the past to cover it up that they can't tell us.
Is it also a national security issue? China and Russia might be reverse engineering UFO crash, wreckage?
That's a big part of it. The fact that a lot of this stuff has gone into private industry and resulted in technologies that we're using today and technologies we don't want anyone to know we have is also a big part of the secrecy.
Yeah, the big part of the secrecy is that this is in private industry. There are some high-ranking members of our own government who may not actually know what's going on in these very top secret defense contractors.
There are multiple layers of the secrecy, and many people in front-facing government do not know and will never know. The people that have the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, are people that we will never see on television and will never come forward and tell us who they are.
You say humanity may not be asking the right questions about UFOs. What are the right questions?
Yeah, this new film is literally 2 movies. The first part is about the inside track on disclosure. We share stories inside Washington, D.C. that people won't see anywhere else. But the second half of the film is about what happens once we have this knowledge. We've got to start looking at AI. We've got to start looking at the nature of reality. We've got to start re-examining esoteric beliefs and spiritual teachings. This is the beginning, not the end, of a huge revolution for humanity.
Wow. Okay, if that isn't a tease, I don't know what is. And next week, of course, David Grush will be on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, promising to reveal all. We shall see. Stay
You'll find
tuned.
something on the inside of this film about David Grush, the inside story of how Ross Coulthart and Ralph Blumenthal broke the story. It's amazing, and Ross was kind enough to chip in on the film. So
Well, that was right here on News Nation. So we were the people to air it. I interviewed him right here on this show. So David Grush is no stranger. Ron James, thank you so much. Accidental Truth Next is out now. Check your streaming platforms. Thanks, Ron.
Accidental Truth. Yeah, he's right. They're never going to give it all up.
Try to facilitate a transition that ensures our president-elect is successful.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people.
some of the organizational issues in setting up a White House. We talked about foreign policy. We talked about domestic policy.
While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power, in private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump.
And I believe that it is important for all of us, regardless of party and regardless of political preferences, to now come together, work together to deal with the many challenges that we face. And in the meantime, Michelle has had a chance to brief the incoming First Lady, and we had an excellent conversation with her as well.
The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as a justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office. The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth, and so did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and many others.
We want to make sure that they feel welcome as they prepare to make this transition. And most of all, I want to emphasize to you, Mr. President-elect, that we now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds. Because if you succeed, then the country succeeds. Because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's report further confirms what we already knew. There was no collusion, no corruption, except on the part of Barack Obama and the weaponized intelligence agencies at the time. The Russia hoax was a blatant lie, all ginned up by Democrat political operatives that were signed off on by then President Obama and leaked to the news media to launch a years-long witch hunt against President Trump and his first administration.
The president saying he is bound and determined to try to help Donald Trump be a successful president, successful transition, because he thinks that will mean success for the country as a whole.
Because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
The Dilly Meme Team. Yes, there he is.
Try to facilitate.
The Dilly Meme Team.
China is one of the biggest collectors.
The President of the United States has made extraordinary allegations about election security and released declassified intelligence to support them. The coming days won't require louder opinions. They'll require an honest examination of the evidence. This isn't a new conversation. The quote widely attributed to the former Soviet Union leader Joseph Stalin warns, "It's not the people who vote that count, it's the people who count the votes." If Stalin's assertion is true, then the integrity of the count matters even more. The answer is transparency. The more transparent an election is, the fewer opportunities there are for manipulation. Election integrity should never depend on who wins. It should depend on whether the process withstands scrutiny.
Well, I tell you what, it helps in Ohio that we got Democrats in charge of the machines.
Did you hear that? It helps that the Democrats are in charge of the machines in this area. Wow.
But look, I come from Chicago, so I want to be honest. It's not as if it's just Republicans who have monkeyed around with elections in the past. Sometimes Democrats have too. You know, whenever people are in power, they have this tendency to try to, tilt things in their direction.
How do you like that? There's
But listen, I talked to the intelligence
admitting
chiefs,
that they
in the last few days as we got prepared for this. It's very important to understand. The president said this tonight. Every intelligence chief vetted this speech. They made sure it was accurate. They told me they had never been briefed on the size of the breaches, the 230 million Americans, 220 million Americans whose data was stolen, that they consider it a security breach. How many times on your network have you reported that 5 countries are capable of hacking our election machines? When is the last time you reported that Venezuela actually succeeded in breaching a machine, which has implications for our future security? You haven't, because it was never made public. It has not been made to Congress. It's not been told to the president in the past. We checked the presidential daily briefs. A president was kept from this information. Now we have a chance to fix a glass chin of election security, make the 26th election more secure. But listen, I talked to the intelligence chiefs in the last few days as we got prepared for this.
Okay, this next story is very interesting. From Massimo. A rancher's dog finds a missing 2-year-old boy in the Arizona wilderness.
Literally the worst he got, and it's not even deep. It's just a scuff, basically.
Yeah. And you said that a rock gave that to you?
despite the scratches from Bowden's terrifying adventure just a few days ago.
But you're feeling okay now?
Yeah. And it wasn't even a human that had protected my son.
But after 16 hours, Bowden was found 7 miles away. The hero who rescued him was this guy, Buford, who belongs to Scotty Dunton, who says Buford found Bowden sleeping under a tree and then guided him safely back to his ranch.
I feel like God sent that dog to rescue my son.
That morning, the Allens got the call they had been waiting for, saying it's nothing short of a miracle.
It's literally the worst he got, and it's not even deep, just a scuff, basically.
Yeah. And you said that a rock gave that.
Isn't that sweet? The dog brought the kid back to civilization. That's fantastic. Wow. Lucky kid.
It doesn't necessarily smell like a campfire burning because as the smoke is carried across thousands of miles, sunlight breaks down these compounds, leaving behind toxic substances like benzene and formaldehyde, which is why the air can smell like chemicals. The American Lung Association warning of the long-lasting impacts from this, saying these particles can penetrate deep into the lungs and even enter the bloodstream. Particle pollution triggers asthma attacks, heart attacks, and strokes, and can kill. So what can you do for your safety? Stay inside with the AC on as much as possible when air quality alerts are issued for your area, and wear an N95 mask to block the particles when outside. Changing your car's cabin filter and using an air purifier at home are also small steps you can take to make a big difference. It doesn't necessarily smell like a campfire burning because as the smoke is carried across thousands...
Isn't that interesting? The sunlight actually turns it into more toxic than it was. Wow. And it can embed into your lungs and into your blood, cause heart attacks and death. Yeah, we better tariff Canada a lot.
There are thousands of pages of the documented footprints, the foreign intrusion into our elections. We see this is coming from China, in many cases from Huawei, from Alibaba Cloud Service, from China Unicom, from uCloud, from China Mobile Titong. You know, this also came.
These are all of the, the communications that were all logged and preserved coming to and from China and other countries during the 2020 election. All this stuff, it's like we remember this stuff. What's this? Meet Nikki Flores. Nikki Flores, the FBI analyst who bragged about running a shadow government inside the Bureau. According to just released declassified documents, this is the woman who, yeah, she claims she was running an inside shadow government, and she's still in the FBI. Get rid of her. Have they gotten rid of her yet? They should. That's bad. And they found all this information in burn bags. Thank goodness someone didn't burn them. Thank goodness they had a lot of DEI hires and they didn't do what they were told to do. And this is what she said. I'm basically running a shadow government across the FBI at this point. Yeah. It's pretty nasty.
Big lie.
I just wanted to send a message. I don't really care what I look like. Good morning. The wildfire smoke seems to be pretty gnarly today, and I want to just clarify some issues. Okay? A regular mask is not going to do anything for you. It doesn't seal. We're talking about one of the hazards being PM 2.5. That's particulate matter that is less than or equal to 2.5 microns, which is 30 times smaller than a human hair. It's dangerous because it can go into the deep lung. But that's the issue with wildfire smoke. We're not just dealing with PM 2.5. You're dealing with volatile organic compounds. That's what I mean when I say VOCs. You can have acids and gases, synthetic issues, aldehydes, carbons. I'm not an alarmist, but I'm telling you as a mom and someone who does this, I will not be letting Mooey play outside today. I know that it's different in different areas of the state, but let me tell you, if you're seeing this above your trees, you see that? How there's a concentrated area of smoke? That signals a concentration issue to me. And the problem is the sun right here. There's like a phenomenon. I brought this up last year, but I'm going to explain it easier. When you have wildfire smoke, the toxicants that are in them are a lot of unknowns, but you can have dioxins and furans. And the issue is these toxicants, outside of just the PM 2.5, when it goes across the sun and it goes under the UV, especially when it's high UV, it creates something called secondary organic aerosols. And what that means is you potentially can have a higher concentration of the toxicants downwind because it's basically being like reactivated as a fresh exposure wind and nitrogen and other issues. I'm not going to get too technical. I don't want to confuse people, but the UV recharges it. So you can actually have a higher concentration downwind, and that's why I'm telling you just to take caution today. Recirculate, time, distance, and shielding like it's radiation, okay? I wouldn't be letting my kids play outside today willy-nilly.
This is this time. This is how they stole it. Cause we know everything they're gonna try. This is how they stole it. Let's take our country back tonight. This is how they stole it. We'll never give it back without a fight. This is how they stole it.
Daily Meme Team, they're fantastic. 2020 election, an attack upon U.S. critical infrastructure, yes.
Why this smoke really isn't going anywhere as long as those fires keep burning up into Canada, and it's all going to come back down to the jet stream. The same thing I kind of showed you earlier with that low pressure and that high pressure creating a train track into the eastern United States. Well, that is going to continue. Let me show you how it looks right now and into tomorrow, into your Friday, or maybe today if you're watching this tomorrow on Friday. This is the jet stream. This is at 500 millibars, so about halfway up in the atmosphere, probably a little bit below where planes fly. But you can see where all these wind barbs are. That is your train track for smoke, and guess what? Yeah, it's right into the northeastern United States. Now, it will come in rounds. There will be some clearer times, like I showed you, a bit of a break tomorrow for parts of New England, but then another round of it on Saturday. And this same general concept is going to really maintain and dominate the pattern for a while. In fact, by the time we get into Saturday or so, even on into Sunday of this upcoming weekend, remember, up here is where your wildfires are. If you follow the train tracks, it gets even further south, more so into Virginia, North Carolina, DC, keeps blanketing the Northeast with rounds of this wildfire smoke, and will continue to be a problem. Folks, look at the pattern. It does not change. This is by next Tuesday. The jet stream basically looks the exact same. In fact, maybe getting a little bit further south, maybe at the Carolinas, start to get in more on that wildfire smoke. See how some of these wind barbs point to places like Charlotte, eastern Tennessee, Kentucky. Yeah, some areas going to probably get some hazy skies next week, and air quality will continue to be an issue. I mean, I could keep this going all the way. This is by... what is this, the 26th or so? It's really still the exact same pattern, troughing in the east, bringing the smoke, bringing the boom. On top of that, going to also be bringing these storms with this as well. Remember, this is also kind of your storm train track, kind of like right now what we're seeing into this weekend, where we're going to get some storms into the Northeast that are going along this boundary or this storm train. So it's going to keep coming, folks. It's going to remain a very interesting and honestly difficult forecast. As I just told you, we don't know exactly how the smoke and the storms are going to interact. There's different theories on it along those lines, but expect hazy skies, bad air quality, and something else I will add, there is the real potential that this could kind of bring temperatures down a little bit. Look at future temperatures. Now, this is partially just due to the fact that we've got upper level a colder air in those cooler colors on your map. But look at the Northeast by Monday, for example. These are max temperatures on Monday. It's mighty warm in that big dome of high pressure, but where your smoke is, you're only getting highs in the 70s and 80s. Meanwhile, further south, more 80s, 90s. So the smoke can also limit the high temperatures a little bit, almost like it's out of an apocalypse book or something. Luckily, this, I don't think, at least, is the second coming. We'll see.
Yeah. And more information about stolen elections.
My name is Brian McCaffrey. I'm a registered Democrat in the city of Philadelphia. Today, I'm at the Philadelphia Convention Center, and I am overseeing the ballot counters. I will let you know the corruption that is going on here. They will not allow us within 30 to 100 feet to supervise the ballots being counted. This is a coup against the President of the United States of America, and I want to call out the Mayor of Philadelphia, James Kenney, the Attorney General, Josh Shapiro, who tweeted that there's no way Donald Trump can win President of the United States of America, and also District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner. I can't believe what I'm seeing right before my eyes. This has nothing to do with Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This has to do with our democracy, and I will tell you, there is corruption at the highest level in the city of Philadelphia.
Yep, I remember that back then.
Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections.
Wow.
Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls. And yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. Cat turd, pull their FCC licenses now. That's right. The big three will not air. Yes, we. Here is that storm from the air. Look at this. That cloud of smoke from Ontario. Look at that. Look at that. Wow.
It looks like
terrible.
No, what's it called?
That's that.
There are thousands of pages of the document.
Do it.
Here is in our Ontario.
Now,
this is the fire.
see the sun kind of peeking through right there. Wow.
Right here a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing that's happened in Ontario is the Indigenous people of Ontario, the Indians of Ontario, are pleading for help. They're getting smoked and burned out. And you know what? That might be the reason why, if these fires were started by people, it might be to smoke out the Indigenous people, because the current Canadian government, I believe, does not, they're like a thorn in the side. They don't want to deal with them, which is very sad indeed. And look at that, just horrifying, just horrifying.
Now the sun's exposing itself. Yeah.
Wow. And that's that.
Let me just say that I looked at the Pfizer vaccine liquid under a microscope, a dark field microscope. And what I saw initially were particles. They were like circles and squares kind of floating around. And I was like, whoa, that's really interesting. And I looked at some older vaccines like measles and flu shots, and I didn't see any of that. And then if you left that liquid sit overnight, what you would see would be like almost like long wires starting to form. And then if you come back a little while later, there were what appears to be, and I'm not saying that's what it is, but it looks like the image of a circuit board, just the vaccine under the microscope. And if you go to an Odyssey channel called Life of the Blood, you'll see some of those images. And I was a bit freaked out by it, and I kind of backed away from it. And I was like, I don't even want to get here, because this is the kind of thing that could get me killed. Like, I've already had enough death threats. I don't need like this.
There's that smoke again. Look at that. Wow. It's very large. Look at that. Just horrifying. Wow. Oh, this teacher was fired. Listen to this. This is good.
I just have a question, because I'm not entirely sure this is legal to be teaching, because according to our president, there's only 2 genders, and he said that he would be freezing agencies' funding programs that promote gender ideology. And this also very much goes against not only myself, but a lot of people's religious beliefs. And so I am not going to participate in this, because it's not legal, and I don't want to promote something that is against our president's laws, as well as against my religious beliefs. Mm-hmm. Yes. You are under misconception that what I'm saying is. Well, can you explain to me how teaching us about gender identity and transgenderism and that there's more sexes than illegal? Huh? My gender isn't illegal. Gender? What do you mean? Your gender is not illegal. According to President Trump's executive order, if you want me to read the paragraph in the order itself. If you are uncomfortable in this class, do you have more to? Yes. What we are doing is not illegal. And if you would like to claim that it is, you need to talk to the department or the head of it. Well, I've already been in contact with the president of A&M, and I actually have a meeting with him in person to show all of my documentation tomorrow. But we're also aware of why there was an observer.
Smart kid.
Yes. I'm not convinced that your proposal will be effective in stopping me from teaching things that are biologically true, because I do have the legal and ethical authority, little of the professional expertise.
So she was fired. Thank goodness. How horrifying. So cool. ICE has an elite team of all Native American agents called the Shadow Wolves. This is pretty cool. At one point, they taught Polish border agents how to track Syrians and Afghans in Belarus. American patriots stand with the Shadow Wolves. Very, very good news. That's awesome.
Signatures of the Save Europe Act. We are not here to ask for permission from the European Commission. We will bring the voice of the European people to the Parliament, even if they don't want to hear it. Here we are. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a pile of, anonymized of course, names of European patriots who want remigration and who want it now. This is the voice of the people. These people decide, not them. This is the voice of the people. We are over 535,000, so we're already over half of what the threshold would be for an official European Citizens Initiative. That in less than 2 months. So this is already an amazing system.
What does precisely your initiative?
You want to go and read it?
If you can summarize, please.
Of course.
Then I will read it in full.
With the Safe Europe Act, we of course want to save Europe from replacement migration, and for that we demand a full and total halt of both legal and illegal non-Western immigration to Europe, and we demand that the European Commission installs a remigration scheme in all of Europe so we can finally start sending them back.
So also legal migrants.
Oh.
Send them back! 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 Send them back!
The whole world is growing balls thanks to Trump.
Completely agree.
Thanks
American
to Trump.
citizenship is the most valuable thing in the world. That's why people all over the globe seek to come into the United States and want to become Americans, and why we have to protect it. But there's a few things that we can do going forward, and I'll say shy of a constitutional amendment that would...
English language is Brandon Gill's bill to make English language the official American language. Well, I think we're going to put a cap on it right now, friends, and call it a night. And I want to thank everyone who came along. And we do this Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays because we're just downrange of strange, where the outrageous is contagious and the paranormal is the new normal. So keep your cameras and phones pointed to the skies so you can take a picture of that crazy UFO and come out of the Truth Quest and talk all about it. We would love that. And that's the famous Area S4 UFO revealed by Testers Model Company. It came out years ago. And that's the sport model. So we'll see you on Monday right around 9 p.m. Central. And we'll see you then. Until then, peace in. That's world peace, baby. Yeah. Oh. And at the BK says, thanks, Aaron. Great show. TGIF. And it's great seeing you here too, buddy. And so let me give my little thank you all so very much. Thank you all so very much. So nice that I don't have a broken keyboard anymore. So happy. So happy. The simplest things make me very happy. So there is that. Thank you all so very much. And Peggy Dancer says, thank you, Aaron, for a really good show tonight. God bless you. Much love. Peace in, and everyone have a great weekend and be safe. And look at all those cool little things she puts on there. See you Monday, Aaron. Awesome. And Valeronian says, thank you, Aaron. You're welcome, buddy. You are very welcome. Good to see you, too. We'll see you on Monday. Until then, peace in. You guys rock because you're the Truth Questers. Yeah.